I welcome you all, my seniors, my colleagues, students, and friends. Thank you everyone for joining today. I especially thank the Lawyers with team, especially special thanks to Tarveen for allowing me this opportunity and giving me this opportunity to conduct this webinar. I would like to introduce myself. I'm Meenakshi Kalra. I'm an advocate on record in the Supreme Court of India, practicing in High Court and District Courts as well. I'm also a PhD research scholar in the Amity University, about to complete my thesis on the international arbitration, I think this year, hopefully. And I have a law firm with my father, Mr. S.N. Kalra, and we together deal with matters dealing with civil and criminal matters as well. So, coming to the topic for today, which is institutional arbitration, which is India's move towards a futuristic global arbitration. I would like to start with first giving an elaboration as to what is arbitration. So, arbitration is one of the forms of ADR wherein two persons who have a dispute, they come together and they get the dispute resolved outside the court through a person who's called an arbitrator, and that person views the documents and the pleadings and contention of both the parties, and thereafter arrive at a decision, and that decision is called an arbitration award. An arbitration award is binding to on the both the parties, and that can be legally enforced through the courts as well. So why to choose arbitration over the court procedures? Arbitration normally is a cost effective and a procedure wherein the time taking process is much lesser than the process in the courts. As we all know that the courts, the time involved is a lot and the dates are really long, and that is why all the commercial parties prefer arbitration rather than going to the court, because it is time effective and cost effective. So, what is the procedure basically for arbitration? The two ways to conduct arbitrations are through an ad hoc arbitration and through an institutional arbitration. So, ad hoc arbitration is the most traditional form of arbitration wherein a person is appointed. He's normally a judge, retired judge, or a jurist having a lot of experience in the arbitration, and that arbitration is appointed by the parties with the consent of both the parties, and that arbitrator, after going through the documents and the evidences on record, passes an arbitrator award. Whereas in the institutional arbitration, an institution who is specifically dealing with arbitrations has a group of empaneled arbitrators who decide the matter, and in a more proficient way, like in a professional way, they conduct the arbitration, and they have set norms which are being followed, and accordingly an institutional arbitration administers the arbitration process on its own set of rules, and the framework of arbitration is a little more professional in that way. In the recent judgment of Nandan Biometrics Limited versus D1 Oil Limited, the Supreme Court had been asked, the issue that was raised was whether not providing a specific name of an arbitration institution can make the arbitration agreement as invalid. And the Supreme Court held that a mere decision of arbitrating a dispute with the arbitration institution, a consent between the parties to appoint an arbitration institution, no matter the name is being referred or not, will be considered as a binding arbitration agreement, irrespective whether the name is there or it's not there. So, as we all know, there is a lot of amendments have been made in the arbitration, and India being a very global economy right now, it is on the boom of starting to have arbitrations in a lot of matters. So, the 2019 amendment specifically incorporated the term institutional arbitration. The institutional arbitration wasn't there before the 2019 amendment in the Arbitration and Conciliation Act. And with the 2019 amendment, section 21CA was incorporated, wherein an institutional arbitration was defined in the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996 on 9th of August 2019. So, what does institutional arbitration has been defined in the Arbitration and Conciliation Act is basically any institution which has been designated by the Supreme Court or the High Court. So, such institution is called the arbitration institution as per the Arbitration and Conciliation Act. Now, it is also important to know that why has been institutional arbitration been a boom, and why is that being considered now at this stage. The need to strengthen the institutional arbitration and the arbitration regime in general was considered by the Justice B.N. Srikrishnan Committee. This committee had suggested the reforms, and the agenda of this committee was basically to recognize the need and the lacunas which were lacking to make the arbitration process in India strong, and to give us guidelines as to how the institutional arbitration regime can be made in a very strong manner and in a very strengthened manner. So Justice B.N. Srikrishnan Committee reviewed the challenges faced by the institutional arbitration in India and recommended that there is a need to dissolve the International Council for Arbitration Dispute Resolution, which is the ICADR. And once that organization was dissolved, a new organization was set up, which is now the Arbitration Council of India. And accordingly, a new institution was also enacted by the way of the New Delhi International Arbitration Act, that is the NDIAC, as we all know. So what was the need for strengthening the institutional arbitration and the need for the Justice B.N. Srikrishnan Committee to review the guidelines? We all know that India at present is on the path of becoming an economic power, and the boom in the business and the commercial transactions. The World Bank Forum, in the recent report, submitted that India stands on the 100th number in the ease of doing business, and therefore there was a lot of countries who wanted to start business with the Indian companies and with the Indian organization, and therefore there was a need that the arbitration or the dispute resolution mechanism needs to be also strengthened. At present, I think in India there are around 35 institutional arbitrations which are functioning. The prominent ones, as we all know, is Nani Palkhiwala Arbitration Center, or the Mumbai International Arbitration Center, or the New Delhi International Arbitration Center. So once this organization was set up, it was also found out that India is one of the countries and one of the parties are prominent which are in the Singapore International Arbitration Center. So Singapore International Arbitration Center majorly deals with a lot of Indian disputes, and India was among the many countries, like the major country in which the arbitration disputes were being decided. So there was a need that India should strengthen its arbitration regime. Moreover, there's also a study which was found out that London Court of International Arbitration Center, which is in Europe, so the cost effective London Court of International Arbitration transferred a lot of matters in India because of the cost and because of the time. The cost, as compared, according to an economic survey, it was found that in India the cost for resolving a dispute before the Indian in the arbitration regime comes to 31% of the dispute amount, whereas previously in the other countries it comes to around 9% to 33%. So in that way, the difference which we see, so let's suppose a dispute for 1 crores, if resolved through an Indian arbitration institution, the amount of cost dispute will come to around 22 lakhs, whereas in Europe the same amount will come to 33 lakhs. So it's around like 10 lakhs difference which was coming, and therefore a lot of matters were transferred from the London Court of International Arbitration to India. And in such arbitration, in such institutions, the matters were in fact dealt in a very short span of time, which is, as we all know, the Arbitration Council of India, Arbitration Conciliation Act specifies the time limit, which is 1 year, extendable for 6 months. So 1.5 years is the time within which the disputes have to be resolved. Of course, there are certain limitations to this also, because certain times that the matters are not decided, thereafter the courts have been approached for extension of time, but that also plays a wrong impression of the arbitrators, and therefore the arbitrators also these days try to complete the matters within the time frame as specified. Therefore, the London Court of International Arbitration, the matters were being preferred over to the Indian institutional arbitrations, and therefore a lot of matters from the London Court of International Arbitration have been transferred to India. So that is the reason that India is being considered as the new hub for institutional arbitrations. However, there are certain lackings which need to be redressed. Coming to the domestic part of the arbitration regime. So as we all know that there are a lot of companies, and the companies, corporates, they prefer the arbitration process for dispute resolution over the court procedural system, for the obvious reasons of the time and the money involved, and once the stay is being granted, the stays goes on until for like 3 years, 4 years, and that is the reason they don't want to get into the court adversary system. Therefore, according to a survey, it has also been found that the companies in India, 61 companies of the India preferred the dispute resolution policy, and out of these 61% of the companies, Indian companies, they prefer 91% of such 61% of companies prefer arbitration as a process for dispute resolution. We all know that the companies, they have a standard form of contracts which already involve an arbitration clause, and also the arbitrators are self-appointed. So therefore, it is very much important that the institution should be involved, institutional arbitrations should be involved to avoid the biasness and to avoid the other party any benefit over the other party. Recently also, as we all know, Maharashtra government made it a mandatory provision that contracts which valued over 5 crores of rupees have to be referred to an institutional arbitration. So this is how the growth of institutional arbitration at present is on the booming stage. But however, we all know that there is a Singapore International Arbitration Center and the Hong Kong International Arbitration Center, which are like dealing 100 matters in a year. So we need to really learn from such institutions and the institutional and the infrastructure that they are providing. Obviously, they get a preference over the institutional arbitrations in India, because the institutional arbitration has been recognized by the government and by the acts recently, only in 2019, and I believe that there's a long way to go in that. However, I believe that the difference that really comes between choosing an institutional arbitration over ad hoc arbitration, a lot of people have a misconception that the institutional arbitrations are very cost consuming and they're very expensive over the ad hoc arbitration. However, there is no specific research on that, and there is no proper any source to show that institutional arbitrations are expensive. And a lot of lawyers who are doing the arbitrations, I think, will agree with me that ad hoc arbitration, they take a lot of time to be done, and a lot of cost is eventually incurred, and thereafter also they are challenged before the courts. And considering that institutional arbitrations, they monitor the panel of the arbitrators, the qualifications, the specialized arbitration, they have a set of procedural rules that have to be followed. Therefore, I believe they should be preferred over the ad hoc arbitration that is currently in boom before India. Also, in the long run, I believe a lot of people have this misconception that the arbitration regime and the arbitration process in the institutional arbitration will be more rigid as compared to ad hoc arbitration, wherein a single arbitrator or a even number of arbitrator, they conduct the dispute according to their own set of procedures. However, this is a misconception, because I believe institutional arbitrations, they have their own set of norms. However, the discretion, and there are rules in which the companies prefer, or if both the companies or both the parties to the dispute prefer that no set of rules or no set of evidence have to be conducted, or no oral submissions have to be made, and then accordingly, if exchange of documents, and thereafter a lot of institutional arbitrations in that manner also complete the dispute resolution in a much faster way and in a much lenient and a flexible way as compared to the ad hoc arbitration. However, I believe this is not a rosy picture, and there are a lot of lacunas in the institutional arbitration. Not exactly the lacunas, but I believe there are a lot of points which have to be considered, and a lot of areas which need a lot more consideration. However, I believe after the amendment of 2019, a lot has been already done, because as per the 2019 amendment, the institutional arbitration has been recognized, and the qualification and experience of an arbitrator under section 43J has also been considered, because earlier even a young lawyer could become an arbitrator, but now as per the section 43J, a minimum requirement to become an arbitrator is 10 years, and having an experience or a specialized knowledge in that field is very much required, or the retired judges can also become an arbitrator. So I believe 2019 has brought much changes and brought much relief in the hub of arbitration and the institutional arbitration. However, there are certain more points which I consider need to be redressed, and I believe to make the India into a global arbitration hub, I believe there are few points which, according to me, I've figured out, and I have I think need to be redressed. The first and foremost being the limited pool of trained and specialized arbitrators. I believe the arbitration institutions or the arbitrators, there is no specified training for them. As compared to the judiciary and as compared to the mediation or the other forms of dispute resolution, there has to be a specified institution which teaches the arbitrators the process, and informs them, or they throws light upon the procedure. And before entering into an arbitration or starting an arbitration, it is very much required that the arbitrators are being given a thoughtful knowledge and the training for conducting such arbitrations. And for that, there is obviously a requirement of a body which will consider all these points and imbibe the arbitrators with the process and with the training. We all know that the process in the arbitration is a little different than to the judicial arbitration, judicial process of administering justice. And therefore, there has to be, I think there needs to be a body or an organization which only imparts education and imparts the training for conducting a thoughtful and a proper arbitration process. Because the challenge is not in the legislation but in the implementation of the legislation. And therefore, for implementing the legislation or for implementing the process of institutional arbitration, there needs to be a organization which will teach the arbitrators the process, and also teach them the orders, how they have to be drafted, and the other supplementary proceedings which are conducted in the arbitration. Secondly, I believe there's a urgent need to have trained and specialized arbitrations, because we all know there is a construction international arbitration center which specifically deals with the construction matters. But there are a lot of arbitrations which happen in the medical field, in the other fields, which require a person having a knowledge, specialized knowledge for that field. I believe in a medical field, if an arbitrator who has no knowledge about the medical terminologies and the process that is involved in the medical field, he would not be able to impart a proper justice to the parties, and would not be able to even understand the process and the dispute which is at hand. And therefore, I believe that each arbitrator who deals with a specialized matter needs to have a specialized education, or a specialized person. Like if we suppose that a chartered accountant is appointed as an arbitrator, he would impart much better decision other than a person who does not has the knowledge of such specialized field. Thirdly, I believe the important and foremost reason for arbitration, institutional arbitrations, to grow the institutional arbitration, is having a credible and a trustworthy arbitral institutions. So there are a lot of arbitration institutions which are credible and trustworthy, but they are very few. And it is very important that we have a lot of trust, and institutions are such that they impart credible information, they maintain the party autonomy, and they are not biased before the parties. And therefore, it is very much required that the credible and trustworthy arbitration institutions have to be set up. Like the Singapore International Arbitration Center is considered as the most credible and the valuable organization, and across the globe a lot of people go to the Singapore International Arbitrations to settle their disputes, and I believe India is nowhere far, and they can very well compete with such organizations. Fourthly, I believe the infrastructure. So, considering these times when there is a pandemic and everything has been gone virtually, the ad hoc arbitration is being affected at this moment a lot, because it is very difficult to conduct virtual meetings and the virtual discussions with persons, because a lot of us are not technically, a lot of us are actually technically challenged, and therefore such infrastructure is very much required, because an institutional arbitration, if has the structure for conducting such arbitrations virtually, I believe would go a long way, because if a cross border or a global institution has to be set up, it has to has a good infrastructure for conducting the arbitration meetings on over virtually, and over email or over the video calls. Fourthly, I believe that it is very important that the laws which are implemented, or like as we all know, the unilateral model, which is the model law of arbitration law. So that model has to be that model has to be implemented, and the countries which are coming forward have to have a law which is uniform. So for promoting institutional arbitration and for promoting arbitration, it is very much important that we need to enact laws which are internationally competent and which follow the unilateral model law of the arbitration, and which are uniform in every country. I think this is a global thing which needs to be considered, and the unilateral model is the basis that can be taken for giving the arbitration in a global level. Another point which is very much important is that the arbitration and the judiciary have to go hand in hand. These are two pillars of justice which need to complement each other, because as we all know, the amendments in Arbitration Conciliation Act recently imbibed have put a time limit on the appeals, and the time limit to decide the appeals within 1 year, and within 3 months of the award, the arbitration award can be challenged before the honorable court, and the courts have to decide that award which is being challenged within a span of 1 year. So this has actually attracted a lot of global companies to choose India as the institutional arbitration, because the time limit in European countries is 4 years, whereas as with the amendment of the Arbitration Conciliation Act, the time limit to resolve and to decide a dispute in India comes to around 2.5 years. So in that way, it is very beneficial and time effective, which is very nice, and the 2019 amendment actually gives a lot of benefit to this. Also, another important factor which I think needs to be considered is the awareness about the institutional arbitrations. I'm sure that a lot of our young lawyers like me, not maybe knowing about the institutional arbitrations or what the process is all about, and therefore the education about the institutional arbitration needs to be given at the colleges, at the university levels, and a lot of people or a lot of companies need to be made aware that institutional arbitrations is one such organization which can get their dispute redressed within a time frame, and even in a very professional and a proper manner, and with their experienced arbitrators. And therefore it is very much required that a lot of popularity and awareness about the institutional arbitration or the arbitration regime in general needs to be provided to the companies or the cross borders. It is very much required and essential. Lastly, this is my personal suggestion that I have personally dealt with matters in the arbitrations, and I have seen there are a lot of persons who are fighting their matters with a lot of companies like the builder companies or the lending companies, and they have not been able to reach a conclusion because they were short of money. And I believe this is one area which really needs to be considered again, because there is no legal aid provided in the arbitrations, and there is no pro bono which is done in the arbitrations. I'm sure there are a lot of lawyers who must be doing it, but in a global level, I believe it is very much required that the pro bono arbitrations and the legal aid in arbitrations need to be given, because personally I believe, although arbitration is a process to uh, you know to have a proper manner to conduct the proceedings in a cost effective manner, however there are certain parties or the individuals who do not have sufficient resources to incur such heavy cost of the arbitration, and therefore such suggestion needs to be considered by the government and by the organizations as well. With this, I believe I come to the end of this webinar. I thank you all for joining me. I believe I'll take certain questions which have come up. Uh, One question has been put forth by Mr. Ankit Gupta. That one question is that can parties refer to arbitrator or they of their own choice, or is it mandatory to file Section 11 application and get the arbitrator appointed? So Ankit, in this question, I would like to tell you that basically arbitration in an ad hoc arbitration, basically the parties themselves decide upon a person, and that person is considered as an arbitrator. However, if there is a dispute in the appointment of an arbitrator, for example, that I put forth the name of an arbitrator and the other party is not consenting to that person to be considered as an arbitrator, he can either file an objection under Section 11 and 12, and if the arbitrator does not consider that objection in Section 12, then the parties can refer to the courts for appointment of an arbitrator. However, in a normal manner, it is basically that the arbitrator is appointed mutually as per the arbitration agreement, and if the arbitration agreement is missing, then the parties can refer to Section 11 for appointment of an arbitrator. Another question has been put forward by Hitesh. Can there be more than one arbitrator in a single matter? Can both the parties have their own individual arbitrator? So arbitration law clearly says that an arbitrator has to be appointed in an even number. They can be either one or either three. They cannot be a even number arbitrator. There has to be an odd number arbitrator. So if three arbitrators can be decided, or either one single arbitrator can also decide a matter. There's another question by Ms. Kanchan. If both the parties appoint single arbitrator, then how much it works perfectly? If the arbitrator is not biased and is considering the aspects of both the contentions of both the parties, I believe it will be very perfect, and that is the reason I said that it is very much required that the arbitrator has been imbibed with the training and the proper specialized arbitrator is appointed to give a proper decision. And either ways, if the arbitrator is not giving a proper order, it can obviously be challenged before the courts. I believe there are no other questions. So with this we come to the end of this webinar. I thank you all for graciously giving your precious time, and I hope with my little knowledge that I had, I enlightened you all about the institutional arbitration, and we all hope that India achieves that roadmap to become a global arbitration hub. I hope you all remain safe during this pandemic, and thank you all for watching me.